When you think computer, what pops into your head? Probably silicon chips and electricity, right? But what if I told you that nature's been running its own computers for literally billions of years? And get this, they might just hold the key to building a much more resilient future for us all.
I mean, think about it. Our entire digital world, everything we do, it's all built on this super simple foundation, binary logic. Just zeros and ones, on and off. That simple code is exactly what lets our computers do everything so incredibly fast and with such precision, from the phone you're holding right now to the massive servers that basically run the internet.
But here's the thing. What if that very simplicity, that universal language, is also a massive weakness? What if it's actually making our world dangerously fragile? Because when everything speaks the same language, you create one giant target. And that gets us to a huge kind of hidden risk in our whole digital setup.
So yeah, that's the core problem right there. We've created this digital monoculture. Since pretty much everything runs on the same basic architecture, one single clever virus can find a tiny crack and boom. It can spread everywhere, potentially taking down entire systems. It's like having a single point of failure, but on a global scale. It's pretty scary stuff.
Okay, but what if there was a totally different way? A different kind of computer that doesn't have this glaring weakness? Well, it turns out, nature's already built one. It's been running for billions of years, and it's literally all around us, and even inside us. We were talking about microbes.
Yep, you heard that right. We're diving into nature's tiniest computers. The big idea here is that these massive communities of microbes are, for all intents and purposes, incredibly powerful little biological computers.
The official term for this is a microbial biocomputer. And here's what's so cool. Unlike our rigid, brittle digital systems, these things have evolved over billions of years to be unbelievably tough. And they do it with three key principles: diversity, redundancy, and maybe most importantly, the ability to fix themselves.
So how on earth does a microbe act like a computer? Well, it's surprisingly simple, actually. It's a three-step process. First, you've got the input. This is just environmental signals, right? Things like light, temperature, or different chemicals in their area. Then comes the processing. The microbes use their amazing internal networks of genes and proteins to figure out what to do with that input. And finally, you get the output, where they actually transform substances to create something of value. Think about making yogurt or beer. That's a microbial computer at work.
Okay, so that brings up a really important question. How does this biological logic really stack up against the digital logic we know so well? Well, let's look at a side-by-side, because the differences are huge, and they really show off the unique power of nature's approach.
This really lays it all out, doesn't it? Our digital computers, purely binary, on or off, simple. But microbial systems? They're analog and multi-valued. They operate in all the shades of gray in between. A digital response is deterministic. You put one thing in, you get the exact same thing out every single time. A microbial system, though, is probabilistic. It's adaptive. And that's the absolute key to resilience. It's why our digital world is so brittle, while these diverse microbial systems can actually repair themselves.
Let's just zero in on that response difference because it's so important. Deterministic is great for reliability, for sure, but it's also incredibly rigid. It's a one-trick pony. Probabilistic, though, that means when a microbe gets an input, it doesn't just have one response. It has a whole range of potential outputs, and it adapts to its environment to pick the best one for survival. We're talking about flexibility and resilience being literally built into its core logic.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds super futuristic, right? Like something out of science fiction. But here's the twist. Humans have been programming these tiny biocomputers for centuries, most of the time without even realizing what they were doing.
Seriously, think about it. Ancient artisans making sake, cheese, bread, they were the world's very first biocomputer programmers. Every time they did their craft, they were basically programming a microbial computer. They were giving it specific inputs, the right grains, the perfect temperature, just the right amount of time, all to get that specific, delicious output they wanted.
And of course, they had no idea about genetic pathways or protein networks. That wasn't the point. They just learned, through generations of trial and error, how to get the exact results they were looking for. It's amazing, really. They became masters of this incredibly complex system, understanding its behavior without ever needing to see a single line of its code.
So, okay, if that's the past, where are we headed now? What does the future of biocomputing look like? Well, today, we're finally moving past all that trial and error and stepping into an age of intentional, deliberate design.
This is where things get really wild.
Thanks to huge leaps in synthetic biology, scientists can now design and build brand new artificial genetic logic circuits and pop them right into microbes. We're talking about literally writing new lines of code for these tiny biological machines, telling them to perform very specific jobs for us.
And the potential here, oh man, it's just enormous. Just imagine information systems that are fault-tolerant that can actually heal themselves, just like a living colony. Or picture sustainable little factories all run by microbes churning out chemicals and medicines. We could even be looking at self-repairing materials or entirely new ways to compute things. This could be a real solution to that brittle digital world we talked about at the beginning.
All of which leaves us with one really fascinating question to ponder, doesn't it? For the last century, we've been building our computers out of silicon and steel. But what if the computers of the future are grown, not built?